The Mountain Within, a Zen Story. Part 1. The Scholar and the Wind. Daiki was known in the capital as a brilliant scholar, young, well-read, and insatiably curious. He had read every sacred text he could find, debated with priests, monks, and philosophers, and practiced various forms of meditation. Yet inside he felt an aching emptiness, a silence that none of his knowledge could fill. He was praised for his insights, yet when the applause faded, he heard only the quiet question in his heart. What is the truth beyond words? One autumn evening, a traveling merchant told Daiki of a reclusive Zen master named Haru who lived in the far mountains. He speaks little, the merchant said, but those who sit with him return changed. The words lodged in Daiki's chest. That night, under a flickering lamp, he packed a small satchel with rice, a water flask, and a single book, the Heart Sutra. At dawn, he left the city. He walked for days. Villages became scarce, and the road thinned into forest. The air grew crisper, and silence stretched long between bird calls. Trees whispered secrets to the wind, and Daiki found himself listening. Eventually, after a steep climb beyond the last village, and even past the last path, he arrived at a clearing. A small hut stood at the edge of a cedar grove. Smoke curled gently from its chimney. An old man sat on a stump, watching a line of ants march across a stone. Daiki bowed. "Master Haru, I've come to learn the way of Zen." The old man looked up but said nothing. "I've studied the sutras, practiced meditation, debated for years, but I still feel lost." Haru stood slowly and gestured toward the hut. "Would you like some tea?" Inside, everything was simple. A fire, a tatami mat, a shelf of bowls, and the smell of pine. Haru brought out a teapot and two clay cups. He poured Daiki's cup full, then kept pouring. The tea overflowed, dripping onto the mat. "Master," Daiki said, "it's full." Haru stopped. "You are like this cup, full of your own knowledge. There is no room for anything new." Daiki looked down. "Then should I empty myself?" "Don't force it, just watch. Let it settle." They drank in silence. The tea was bitter and warm. For the first time in months, Daiki didn't analyze the taste. He just drank. The days that followed were quiet. Daiki swept the path, fetched water, and chopped wood. Haru offered no teachings, no parables. When Daiki asked questions, Haru only smiled or pointed to the trees. One morning, Haru led him behind the hut to a mossy stone. "This is where I listen," he said. "To what?" "To the mountain, the silence, the truth that needs no words." They sat. A bird called in the distance. The wind shifted. Thoughts tugged at Daiki. Ideas, questions, ambitions, regrets. He tried to suppress them. "The mind barks like a dog left alone," Haru said. "Let it bark. Don't chase it." Daiki frowned. "I thought Zen was about silencing the mind. It's about not believing it." That evening they ate rice by firelight. Haru said nothing. Daiki didn't mind. One day while washing dishes in the stream, Daiki dropped a bowl. It hit a rock and cracked. He reached for it, but stopped. In the clear water, the broken bowl shimmered in sunlight. It looked beautiful. He sat by the stream for a long while. Later, he brought the cracked bowl to Haru. "I think I understand." "You will forget," Haru replied. Daiki blinked. "And remember again," Haru added. They used the bowl that night for soup. Part 2. The sound of the empty cup. Days passed like leaves falling, one by one silently. Daiki began to hear the mountain, not in words or signs, but in the stillness between things, in the shape of branches, the way water curved around stones. He no longer sought answers. He listened. He watched. He felt. He noticed how silence lingered after footsteps, how wind moved not just leaves but memory. And when he closed his eyes at night, the hush remained. On the seventh morning, a storm moved through the mountains. Rain tapped the roof. Wind pressed against the hut. Dike sat inside, watching the fire. I had a dream, he said, that I stood on a peak and saw the whole world below, and yet I felt nothing. Not joy, not sorrow, just quiet. Clouds come, Haru said, and go. The sky remains. They sat in silence. That afternoon, Haru asked Daiki to walk to the high ridge to gather pine needles. The climb was steep. Mist curled along the path. At the ridge, Daiki stood still. The valley below was silent. No village in sight. Just the wind moving through trees. He closed his eyes and heard something. Not a voice, not a sound. An echo of presence. He stayed there until dusk. The air grew cold. He wasn't sure how long he had been standing, but it didn't matter. When he returned, Haru was tending the fire. Daiki said nothing. Haru nodded. On his final morning, Daiki rose before dawn. He boiled water and prepared tea for Haru. They sat outside, wrapped in blankets, watching the stars fade into light. Steam rose from the cups. No questions remained, only breath, only the hush of morning. Haru placed a hand on his shoulder. When the cup is truly empty, he said, even silence makes a sound. Daiki nodded. He packed nothing but his satchel, left the cracked bowl behind. As he walked down the mountain path, the wind whispered through the trees. He did not carry teachings. He carried no words, only the sound of the empty cup. If this story brought you a moment of peace, consider subscribing and leaving a like. Your presence supports more stories like this. Thank you.